All right. So I felt the need to take some time to address someone that commented on one of my videos on YouTube. Um, I was talking about the fact that it's disgraceful that this Republican regime, um, under the direction of a literal white supremacist who basically just wants this country to be white. Um, that's not a joke. Like that's what he said. People that know him really well have said as such. He has said as such almost explicitly, and even Donald Trump is reportedly has been kind of put off by the fact that Stephen Miller seems too happy about the idea of people being rounded up and renditioned to other countries very quickly. He said he wasn't happy with the pace of the people that are being I call it kidnapping because that's what it is. If you're not being presented with due process and it's not being done the legal way, let me emphasize legal way, like President Obama and President Biden did legally deport more people than Trump has, giving them due process rights. That isn't like a 2-year trial like Trump paints it out to be. It's a hearing, it's an opportunity to go before a court and defend yourself and make whatever claims that you need to make. And the people that didn't have a legal right to be here, they were deported to their home countries without dispute from their home countries because they were given due process, right? Everybody on this soil has certain constitutional rights, which is falls under the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, and Eighth Amendment, for the ones that apply in this case. So let me read the comment. This is my first time like doing like an overlay, so hopefully it turns out okay. Um, the person that calls themselves just for fun 411 LOL said, "This is such condescending BS. The Constitution is the bedrock of our society. There are people that come to this country that wish to destroy all that we hold dear from within." Again, fear mongering. Um, as an first generation whose parents came here the right way and lived the American dream, who gives those who come here illegally to circumvent those trying to do it the right way, I feel sorry for this lost soul that feels attacking people and name calling and telling citizens to ignore the rule of law. Very sad. If he feels this way, then why are you here? Go live where you feel life is just. Again, we have fear mongering. We have creating a straw man that's saying things that I did not say. I didn't tell people to ignore the rule of law. That's not true. Um, and this common comment by right wingers saying if you don't like it, leave. Um, I have something to say about that, and I think it's a stupid comment. That's like saying, "Oh, my house has a plumbing problem. I'm just going to move out." Does that make sense? Like, if we have a problem with our immigration system, I think we should fix it, not demonize brown people. So let me get into my comment back. One of them. I had multiple. So I said, bear with me. This is going to be this is going to go on for a little bit. My title for this is reply to an un-American, unpatriotic idiot. When you say things like this, that's what I think of you as a veteran in the United States of America and as a citizen born here. What, third generation? Um, my people have been here. Some of my people have been here since this nation's before the Pilgrims came over, before the settlers came and committed genocide against the Native American Indians. I also am part Irish, I'm part Welsh, I'm part Italian, and I'm part Native American Indian, from the Mohican tribe on my mother's side, my grandma's side. So I say that's really rich. For someone that makes reference to our Constitution, you obviously haven't read it. This country is a nation of immigrants. It runs on immigrants and is in all the great things this country is because of immigrants. Secondly, for someone who claims he values the rule of law, clearly doesn't understand the law or the fact that what the Gestapo force that is ICE is conducting itself illegally, right? Like they don't identify themselves, they won't tell you their name. A lot of times they won't even show a warrant, even if it's that BS administrative warrant that ICE officers get to fill out, which is totally bogus. They're not trained, they're not professionals. That's against the law. Law enforcement officers are supposed to tell you their badge number, their name. You should be able to see their faces. You should be able to document them because we have a right to face our accusers if we are accused of a crime or if we are treated poorly, like mishandled, violence is done upon us. We are supposed to be able to have the opportunity for recourse. None of that can happen when these people hide their identities and we don't know who they are or if they are who they say they are. We have already had reports of people being kidnapped, people being robbed, people being raped that are posing as ICE. So if this is to make people safe, it's done the exact opposite. And it's also taken resources away from actual crimes that ICE is supposed to be helping with. Like in California, the rates of fentanyl that has gone up. Okay, so and also like the National Guard troops were part of addressing those kinds of issues too, being taken off that for you know, protecting federal buildings who the LAPD has to protect the National Guardsmen. Stupid. Where did I leave off? So right. So ICE is conducting itself illegally, and the vast majority of the people being targeted are simply brown people with no criminal history. Many who have been here working, paying taxes, put down roots here, are following the legal process, and their constitutional rights are being violated, which they are afforded by being on U.S. soil. I don't care if you like it or not that these people have rights, and it is not up to debate whether or not ICE and this fascist Republican regime is breaking the law. That is a fact. Targeting blue states like this is un-American. It's domestic terrorism, what this regime is doing. Notice that they basically never charge the business owners for illegally exploiting migrant workers. They don't go after the business owners socially. They don't go after the business owners specifically in red states or Trump properties who's been cited to repeatedly use undocumented labor at his businesses and facilities for decades. Also, you don't get to talk about the law if you supported a felon. The regime is corrupt on an unprecedented scale across the board and are effectively domestic and international terrorists and are engaging in human rights violations by the hour. They've kidnapped over 200,000 people who are, mind you, innocent until guilty in a court of law in America. That's the legal way to identify a person's status and guilt, not some insurrectionist thug's determination of how brown they are. What they're doing here is barely veiled racism. Trump was right about the greatest enemy is within, but wrong about who that enemy is. It's the Republican Party. Everyone involved in Project 2025, the Federalist Society, the family, these Christian nationalist groomers, and the Christian nationalist Zionists, and all the donors who are really pulling the strings. What we are seeing is the total destruction of this country by the billionaire class, and we are now isolated from the rest of the world thanks to AIPAC and DMFI's influence on the Republican and Democratic parties. Big moneyed interests are why Americans are struggling. They rig our system in their interests. They drive up housing costs by buying up so many single family homes and apartment buildings well over asking price, affecting the housing market costs. They use illegal software that rigs rental rates, inflating to the point it squeezed renters into a position they have no choice but to pay exorbitant costs. Well, being slumlords, mind you, they own the majority of our media, hence the mass distribution of misinformation on mainstream media, which definitely includes Fox News and similar affiliates. The most watched weapons grade right wing misinformation and propaganda based, basically state media for the Republican Party, let alone all the hooks right wing billionaires have into the right wing minions on social media like Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, etc., and so many more. They all prop up a scapegoat like immigrants, undocumented or otherwise, but none of that matches up with reality. Immigrants don't take much money out of our system, and they can't vote until they become citizens, which takes decades or more and is expensive and difficult to navigate. And it takes so long and is overly complicated and bureaucratic because of racist white supremacists in the Republican and Democratic parties, with an understanding we have a lot of racists in this country. They purposely limit the number of people that process this stuff, judges this stuff, and monitor and facilitate this. Except when there's a fake white genocide in South Africa, then they get land and money and gifts and a head start when they get here because they're whites. But brown people that are actually at risk because of our CIA engaging in U.S. interventions that we've done nearly 100 times since the 1940s that destabilized half the world's countries, when they seek asylum the legal way, now they are harassed, brutalized, and shipped illegally to either for-profit prisons here, where they label for free or $1 a day, or get renditioned to a third country that's war-torn, unsafe, and they may be tortured. California and much of the Southwest used to be Mexico. We had agreements that we broke, and now we spit in the face of those people who are indigenous here. Same is true for American Indians. So many are getting illegally disappeared. So excuse me if you felt I was condescending to you. Often it is the case that ignorant people feel someone is being condescending while listening to someone who is actually well informed on what they are talking about. If that bothers you, not only am I not sorry, I stand 10 toes down on this because I care about human rights, and I am greatly disturbed that we have literally the worst people running this country. That's called a kakistocracy, ruled by the worst of us. The immigration policy is being directed by a white nationalist who has stated nearly explicitly he wants all black and brown people out of this country. He literally only wants people here that look like him or like me. So don't sit here and tell me this has anything to do with the Constitution or the rule of law, because that's factually wrong. No, it is not. This is about white supremacists, Christian nationalists, and Zionists, as well as right-wing billionaires like Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen, who want to make Curtis Yarvin's fascist technocracy vision happen, and they are doing it. They are creating technates. It appears they have targeted blue states and cities first for this. It combines Palantir's surveillance technology and intelligence gathering with AI aggregation and uses all the data that Doge stole on all American citizens that was under the direction of Elon Musk. They're targeting migrants now with ICE, deleting people's records that sound Latino. They are being renditioned out of the country or being sent to private prisons to be slaves for the billionaire owners and shareholders for profit. They most definitely will target dissenters like me and others. So I say this at great risk. The health secretary, Kennedy, is saying he wants everyone to have wearables to be able to track everything we do. That's the kind of stuff police states do, as is all the rest of it that I said. If you are fine with this stuff, you're just as much as a fascist monster as they are. Also, let go of the "if you don't like it, leave" kind of statement that you made. It's such a stupid thing to say, especially to a veteran who swore an oath to defend our country from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. My oath is to the Constitution, not to any man or party. My oath was to fight for my fellow man, and I took that to heart. And I say with my full chest now, I will never back down, and I will fulfill my oath. I may have finished my military contract of 8 years of honorable service, but as a citizen and as a civilian, I get to choose what actions I take in order to honor my oath. You should be thankful I choose peaceful means given my training. I was part of the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. Make no mistake, I do not suffer fools, and I will not accept my country being destroyed, our democracy be destroyed by fascists. So that concludes what my first comment back to this person who I refer to as an un-American, unpatriotic idiot who is unaware of the law and has clearly not read the Constitution, or who is afforded constitutional rights in this country. Anyone on U.S. soil is entitled to constitutional rights. There are U.S. laws that apply and international laws that apply. So before you speak, you should understand what you're talking about. My freedom of speech will always be used to address the fools I refuse to suffer. And if you're wondering about the costume change, again, thank you for watching this video. Please check me out on Patreon. I'm Bornfree44 on there. I'm trying to create a community for all of us that are resisting fascism. Fascism. If you're not down with fascists, if you're not down with the establishment government that we have problems in both parties. The main enemy is the very wealthy people that are pulling all the strings, that are trying to divide us up. When in doubt, if you're worried about something that you're suffering from, look up. In most cases, it's up. It's the billionaires, it's the decamillionaires, it's the people that have powerful influence, and they are the most evil people with the most evil businesses in the world, right? Like, what's more evil than owning and running a private prison with horrific conditions and basically demanding that there be no oversight whatsoever, or these detention facilities that Congress people that have an oversight role are being denied access. So what's going on with that? This isn't about rule of law. This is about, it is a bit about a new world order by the people that don't see us as human beings. They see us as kind of pawns in the game that they're playing. And many of us are just getting in the way. And I intend to get in the way because that's necessary for humanity. So thanks for watching. Please hit all the buttons, do all the things. Please drop me a comment if you are looking for a space that's free of the censors that we have to deal with the social media owners. Come on over to Patreon, join my Discord community. That's the lowest tier. And then the other tier is getting you access to early release videos, bonus content. And it just helps support small creators like me that are boldly telling the truth and also engaging in and directing peaceful activism. I did a video yesterday that's free and available for anybody who joins free to take a look at that. We need to do a full court press letter campaign to address the unlawful renditioning of people to third countries where they basically are being given a death sentence or a torture sentence. That's wrong and it's un-American. And I'm going to be unapologetic about all of this. If you care about human rights, you should want everybody to have equal justice under the law, and everybody to have due process. If you ran afoul of the law, then, you know, we are supposed to have a legal process, right? And some laws are unjust, like slavery was legal. It was legal to oppress women. It was legal to rape women for a long time. It was legal to basically, I mean, it's still legal in this country to basically treat your children as property, to indoctrinate them. with religion. To me personally, I see that as a form of abuse because they don't get the opportunity to consent in or consent out of that. It's just pushed on them, and I don't agree with that. I'll get into that another day. But today was about commenting on something that I think is kind of a type of comment that we hear a lot from the right wing, and I think there needs to be a response to it, and this was mine. All right, thanks.